So again, welcome. We're really proud to host this. This is the first time we've done the School Board Candidate Forum live or in person. We've done it live in Zoom, and so it's really great to be able to do this. It's so hard for candidates in local elections to get their message out. So part of our role in the chamber is to promote the community, and what a better way to promote the community to give these 6 candidates a chance to talk about their platform. So just to review the format, so you all know, I know the candidates know it, but just to review. So we reached out to the community and our chamber memberships to submit questions to be asked for this candidate forum. And then our board of directors voted on the 3 questions that would be asked. All the candidates received the questions more than 72 hours in advance, so they could prepare for them. 2 minutes to answer each question, and 2 minutes for opening and closing remarks. No questions from the audience, and please no cheering, just to keep out of respect to all the candidates. At this time, I'd like to introduce the candidates, and I'll go from left to right. From Trustee Area A, HEIDI HERRICK, Carlos ULLOA. Trustee Area B, Sarah AHMAD, Brittany Bauer. And Trustee Area D, JAIME Chamberlin, and LENA LAUER MEUM. Thanks to all of you for doing this. I mentioned to the candidates earlier, I give them a lot of credit for doing this in the world we live in now of keyboard warriors. Kudos to all of you for putting yourself out there and really wanting to work and do the job and the platform and objectives that you all feel are strongly about for the school board and for the students. Okay, at this time I'd like to recognize Melanie Hamil, who's our events director and helps us put all these events on for the chamber. October 13th, Harvest Fest, North City, don't forget, all day. And then Verinda Missit. Verinda is our board chair. She is also the chief development officer and at Interfaith Community Services, and she will be serving as the moderator. I will be the timekeeper, and I will be shuffling myself down to the first row. So with that, I will turn it over to Verinda.
Thank you, Rick. And welcome, candidates. Thank you so much for being here and putting yourself out there. I think we're going to go ahead and start first with opening remarks. And so I think the first person that we're going to hear from is Heidi.
Thank you, Verinda. Will you guys let me know if it's too loud or too soft? Well, good evening. My name is HEIDI HERRICK, and I echo what Rick said. I'm super honored to be up here with all of these other individuals. I wanted to thank the incumbents for what you guys have done over your 4 years of service. I think anytime you put yourself out there to try something new and be exposed to the public and critiques and all of the things that go along with it, it takes a lot of courage to do that. So thank you, and also to the candidates for putting themselves out there. So a little bit about me personally. I've lived in North County for 20 years, and I've lived in San Marcos for 12 years. I am married with 3 children, all of whom are in San Marcos schools. My first and most important profession is being a mother. My husband is a school teacher for the Poway Unified School District, and while I've had many amazing teachers in our parenting, he is my favorite. About me professionally, I helped start a company 20 years ago. We're a med tech recruiting firm, and we do executive search. So what I do every day is I help companies hire director and above candidates in the med tech space, and I really love that. Healthcare is constantly changing. You guys know that, just being people that are benefiting from healthcare. And I just wanted to point out that in the healthcare space, we have to constantly innovate, and that's something that I'm excited to bring to the school board. We really have to be forward-thinking. In my spare time, I am on a non-for-profit called BRAVE, and BRAVE supports women who have been impacted by breast cancer. Part of that is helping women, particularly women of color and minority, to work their way through their breast cancer journey. There's a lot of disproportionate outcomes for those women, so I'm really honored to support them. And I am excited to answer questions and be considered for board. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. Next we have Carlos ULLOA.
I've heard aloha, uyoba, it's ULLOA. Sorry. I'm going to be testing you later on. It's not a multiple choice, so. Okay, hopefully my 2 minutes hasn't started. You put a B on it, Rick. ULLOA. Anyhow. ULLOA. 3 sounds. First of all, I just want to thank everyone for being here. When I first was elected 4 years ago, it was COVID. We did not have a permanent superintendent. Since then, we've embarked on a portrait of a graduate. We do have a superintendent now, thank goodness. And we fostered a very strong collaboration with the city of San Marcos. And most recently, we've been working towards passing a bond to upgrade our campuses, the safety and security of all our campuses here in San Marcos. I really want to continue doing the work that we started. There is so much work to do here. Even though we're number 5 out of 42 school districts, or number 3, K through 12, we have plenty of work to do. I am the first Latino, let me say that with a big O at the end, elected to the board. I am the face of the majority of the minority students in our district. It's taken about 60 plus years to elect someone that looks like the face of our kids whose needs we're not meeting. Overall, we have a really high graduation rate for our English learners, but if we look at our Latino students, we're falling short. So I feel there's so much work that needs to be done with our Latino students. I bring 33 years of experience in education as a teacher. I'm currently a 5th grade teacher in the Escondido Union School District, where I was educated. I've been a site principal, elementary, middle school, a district administrator, curriculum and instruction. I was appointed by Governor Brown to serve a 4-year term on the IQC, and I feel this makes me very uniquely qualified to be a governing board member, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Carlos. We're going to move on to Trustee Area B with Sarah Ahmad.
Well, good evening, everyone. When I think about SMUSD, my first thought is of our kids, my kids and your kids. Having a strong school district dedicated to providing the best for our kids is essential, not only for the families who've chosen to raise, the people who've chosen to raise their families here, like myself and my husband, but also for the community at large. My name is Sarah Ahmad, and I am the incumbent and current vice president for the San Marcos Unified School Board. But more importantly, I'm a mother of 2 students, 2 children in our district who've attended SMUSD schools for their entire lives. I'm also a 17-year, very proud member of this very vibrant San Marcos community. Professionally, my background lies in computer science with a degree from UC Irvine, and I am also a director at a software company leading the portfolio for semiconductor and software solutions. When I'm not being a director or a mom or a school board member, I spend my time fundraising and supporting and bringing awareness to leukemia and lymphoma societies. During this first term on the board, I have been instrumental in correcting our fiscal health without impacting our students, hiring an amazing superintendent who has brought stability to our district and pushed and achieved communication and transparency more than ever before for the first time, and also set clear direction and promises to what we as a district want to provide our schools. And we still have more to do. As a parent board member, I have dedicated my focus and time to advocating for all students, parents, stakeholders, to ensure that their voices are heard. If re-elected, I will continue to be connected, collaborative, transparent with our community while focusing on success, safety, and space to achieve for our children. Thank you, Chamber and Rick, for this wonderful opportunity, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Brittany Bauer.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brittany Bauer. As previously stated, I'm running for Trustee Area B, which covers from San Alejo Hills to Lake San Marcos and the communities in between, such as Rancho Tesoro and Discovery Lake. And I wanted to start by acknowledging or just stating that we live in a wonderful city. We're very blessed to call San Marcos home, and it would be for me an honor to represent the voice of our community within the district. I have an extensive community service background, and I'm heavily involved in an organization called the Dream Center Baja, which is an orphanage home in Tijuana that houses up to 21 kids. So as you can see, my heart is to see that children and young adults are given opportunities to have a thriving future, and that we as adults are stewarding their education and setting them up for success. Their futures start now, here at home, and this passion for community services and helping young people succeed drove me to run for school board this year. As a member of the school board, I would not take for granted the opportunity to be a part of building a better future for them. Thank you.
And Jamie Chamberlain from Trustee Area D.
Oh, I got it. Hello, San Marcos! My name is Jamie Chamberlain, and I am I'm running for Trustee Area D. I am the incumbent coming in. Oh, that's a lot of feedback. Can I use that one? Yeah, you should maybe turn that one. Okay. I've been living in San Marcos for 14 years. I have a daughter that is going to Mission Hills. I am also a substitute teacher now, which is very exciting for Escondido Union High School District. My background is I worked for Illumina, which is the people that make sequencers for our DNA, and lots of different things DNA. But anyway, I'm running for Trustee Area D. I'm very excited. We've had a very amazing 4 years, and I'm not finished. I want to keep going. I want to keep helping our schools. I want to keep helping our community. And I look forward to answering everyone's questions and hearing what everybody has to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. LENA, LAUER, MEUM.
Hello, I am Lena Lauer, MEUM. First of all, thank you to the Chamber for hosting tonight and for being here. I was raised in San Marcos, so I've been here since 1987, and I graduated from San Marcos High School. After that, I went on to USD and got my bachelor's in business administration, and from there went to Cal State San Marcos and got my MBA. Professionally, I am also a recruiter. Like Heidi, I work in the healthcare recruiting space. I've worked for Scripps Health, and now I currently work for NYU remote. So in regard to community service, I love being involved with the San Marcos community. I served on the Student and Neighborhood Commission for a few years. I also served the Parent Advisory Committee for the San Marcos Unified School District a few years ago. I served as PTO president and the vestry for our church. And then I also served as vice president of the Lions Club. So I really enjoy being involved. Most important, I am the mom of 4 San Marcos Unified School District students, and I have 2 of them that go to Woodland and 2 that go to Richland. My youngest is in 2nd grade, so I'll be a parent for a lot longer, and I'm looking forward to making positive impact on our school district.
Thank you, panel. We're going to go ahead and get to the first question, which is, with the recent school shooting in Georgia, what are your suggestions for keeping our students and staff safe in the San Marcos schools? We'll start with Carlos.
Thank you. I just want to say safety begins in the home. I believe there are many factors that have desensitized our students into believing it's okay to resolve feelings of despair, depression, and isolation with violence. Since Columbine is synonymous with violence against children and teachers, we've had so many copycats since Columbine, and it truly is it's a problem that has yet to be resolved in our nation, and it's a problem that continues around the world. I believe safety is a value that the home and school must work together to reinforce. Violence of any kind is never justified to bring justice for a child that is hurting. I always tell my 5th graders, hurt people, hurt others. And I truly believe this. And to go on a rampage and think it's okay to enter a school, a church, a public building, and to resolve conflict with violence is, to me, the lowest form of any type of resolution. I believe our partnership with the city, with Let's Face It Together, was a launch into many positive partnerships that have led to just really positive outcomes. I really believe that as professionals, creating partnerships with religious leaders, teachers, and law enforcement is a great starting point and where we need to continue working towards. Expanding that circle and safety net of services for all of our students. I say teachers are always the first to know. We need to respect the value of a teacher when they say this kid needs help. I'm also a firm believer in school resource officers. They are trained to talk to students, and I also believe in collaborating, once again, with our city and local sheriffs to continue to monitor and improve the safety of our students and our campuses. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Heidi, same question.
Okay, thank you. So most of you have heard about the Georgia school shootings. We're dealing with a very unique situation here where the father was actually also charged in addition to the teenage boy. So unfortunately, this is already the second time this year where a parent was involved, and thankfully the parent in the situation is being held accountable. So that I think that's a step in the right direction. I'm sensitive to this topic. Being married to a school teacher, we can armchair quarterback these awful tragedies and point out all the things that schools should have done differently. It is nearly impossible for principals and teachers to react in a moment's notice and know everything to do in that moment. Carlos is not on the SWAT team as far as I know, neither is Jamie. And so our teachers are bearing the burden of doing everything and trying to be everything to everyone. So we need to first give grace to teachers and staff that there are a lot of moving parts here. In my opinion, my humble opinion, I think there's 3 takeaways from the Georgia shooting. Number 1, accepting that mental health intervention plays a huge role on our campuses. We need to look at this holistically. In Georgia, the Speaker of the House commented that they failed in connecting the student's former school to his new school. So there was a drop. There had been some reports about him, and that was a loss. We should have had a connection about his mental health previously. Second, every day I believe that students need to have something to look forward to when they come to campus. They need to feel a sense of belonging. And if we are not providing students an opportunity to join clubs, to be a part of something, they are going to, unfortunately in this situation, like Colt did, act out in violence. Thirdly, we need to continue with our safety protocols, and I'm out of time, so thank you.
Now we'd like to hear from Brittany, please.
I'd like to start by saying that it really hurts my heart that for the lives that were lost in Georgia, as well as for the student who made the choice to harm others. I think that they were all failed, and that this doesn't need to happen, and that there are actions that can be taken to prevent these tragedies from happening again. I support fully funding campus security, including additional resource officers and security cameras along the perimeters of the campuses, and for us to continue to build and cultivate a great relationship with our deputies that includes the students and involves them. As we saw demonstrated with the San Diego Unified School District, taking an adversarial approach to our resource officers would do our campuses a large disservice. Our campuses do have some form of anti-bullying curriculums. However, it would be wonderful to see the students and the parents more involved in leading our schools into a kindness is cool culture. After all, students are most influenced by their peers. The same way that a company creates a culture within a workplace, we can create culture within our campuses, one that's focused on peers looking out for peers. Boosting our mental health opportunities with additional resources for students, and creating an atmosphere of this being perfectly okay for students to take advantage of. Additionally, it's vital to ask our staff to be more cognizant of students that may be showing signs of despondency. If they see something, we need to ask them to say something. There are students within our school district that are not feeling heard, and it's our job as adults to listen. And lastly, doubling down on the zero drugs, weapon, and harassment policies on campuses and enforcing consequences for those while simultaneously not enforcing consequences for the students that actually speak up about their peers and concerns that they see. I think all of these things together contribute to a safer education for our students. Thank you.
Sarah Ahmad?
So bear with me, because not only am I nervous, but this is a sensitive topic for me. Keeping our kids safe is not something that is important to me only when something bad happens somewhere else. It is important to me every day. From the moment I drop off my kids at school to the minute I pick them up, their safety is my first concern. My two hearts are walking on our campuses every single day. That said, this problem is, it doesn't have one single answer. It must be a multi-pronged approach, and we must work together on it. Here are the three main prongs. One is deterrence, and this is the most obvious one. Physical safety, how secure are our campuses? Today, we work very closely with our law enforcement, our resource officers, to do whatever we can to ensure that, to determine how safe we are and what more we can do. But this is an ongoing conversation which we will continue to have, and we're always looking for ways to do better. Number two is our reaction response time. Making sure our staff are trained and prepared to quickly respond. God forbid something like this happens on our campus. But I'm going to echo what every single person has said here. The most important thing is prevention. Though we do a lot in other areas into making sure our campuses are secure and our staff is trained, getting to the root cause as to why a child would feel so disconnected, so removed, so hurt, so angry to come to school to do something like this, we must consider our children's physical and mental well-being. I will continue to work with our cities and other partners to support programs like Let's Face It Together. I will continue to be someone that the students can reach out to. I will continue for our staff and advocate for them to connect with our students. Our kids must know that they are not alone and that they are seen, and I will continue to advocate for parent collaboration because we as a school district cannot do this alone.
Thank you. Next will be Lena, and just want to remind you, please speak into the microphone so that we can make sure we get this recorded correctly and people can hear you. Thanks.
Thank you. So physical safety is a top priority for, I think, all parents. For me, it's my number one concern. I think we need to work with our campus safety officers to make sure that we're listening to them, see if they have any ideas, any concerns, protocols that they think we need to be enforcing. We also need to make sure the security measures, like the surveillance and gates and everything, are functioning properly. And then we have security guards. We're hiring the staff that we need for that. Alongside that, we need to pay attention to mental health of our students. With the Georgia situation and other tragedies like that, there are precursors, there's signs that it might happen. And in certain times like that, it went unmarked. So I think it would behoove our district to have a protocol for parents, students, and staff that if they hear of something, that they know where to report it, how to report it, and what's going to be done because of that. And there needs to be transparency with the community so that we know what's happening. Everybody that has kids here knows, when we drop them off, they walk through those gates, and we're trusting the district with our babies. And it's not something as a parent that anybody's going to take light of, so it's just something that we can't be complacent with. It's just the time we live in right now, and we have to make sure that it's an important factor.
Thank you, Lena. Jamie Chamberlain?
Thank you. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about what our district already does. The district, San Marcos Unified, has a very balanced approach to this. We have currently 4 SROs hired full-time. We have 1 at Mission Hills. We have 1 at San Marcos High School. We have 2 that rotate between the middle schools, the K-8 schools, the elementary schools, Twin Oaks, and Foothills. And the reason they rotate is because we want to make sure that the kids are seeing them and having conversations with them and know that they're there to protect and to trust and to be able to ask questions. The SROs have two times a year, they do active shooter training with our sheriff's department, as well as our staff does it once a year with our sheriff's department. We regularly have safety drills, earthquake, fire, lockdown, and this is also so the students know when there's something happening that they need to follow the instructions of their teachers or the trusted adults around them. We also have a lot of mental health and preventions on our campuses. Let's Face It Together is a program that offers children, teachers, and other students, if they're seeing something or there seems to be someone in distress, that there's a place for them to call or talk or get to mental health, get access to mental health services. All of our schools have diamond safety teams, and these teams are trained in threat assessment, stop the bleed, and they have comprehensive safety plans. Another thing San Marcos Unified does is we really foster community partnerships. We foster community partnerships with mental health professionals, local law enforcement, and community organizations. This makes sure we have a tailored safety plan for every single one of our sites. And I think we're doing really well, and I would like to continue all of that and add to it as we need to.
Thank you. Our second question is, what do you see as your primary role as a board member? And we're going to start with Heidi Herrick.
Thank you. This one will be short, so I guess I'm off the hook on this one. So this one's actually just simple for me. My primary role, if elected, will be to ensure objective accountability to you all and to our entire community. That's who I will answer to, is our public voters and our community. Involved in that, of course, are other critical roles that are inferior to that, but kind of nest under that. And what I've scoped out for that would be exercising financial stewardship over our district budgets, setting direction of our schools, providing support, and acting as a community leader. Thank you.
Thank you. Carlos ULLOA.
So first of all, I want to thank my fellow board members for the last 4 years, and I want to thank those who are running against us, because there's nothing like healthy competition. And so thank you. 4 years ago, we all ran during COVID. We didn't know each other, and I feel, have worked really well as a team. A lot of people, the general public, do not know, except Sharon Jenkins probably, that you are one of 5, and alone you have no voice. By yourself, it's really the 5 of us together, reaching consensus on behalf of kids, on behalf of teachers, on behalf of the entire district. So really, it requires someone who can collaborate and can set aside their ego, and they're just really work in a healthy partnership. And excuse this term, but I call them my board wives. I know, excuse me for saying that, but I have a really close relationship with them. Sarah's laughing because it's our joke. I'm sorry to offend you, ma'am. But we are very collaborative, and I was really thrown off by that, sorry. Our goal is to set direction for the district, establish effective structures, and ensure accountability. One thing that we've done in the last 4 years is we now have a positive certification, which we've never had in the last decade. We've submitted a negative certification. I must just really reiterate, the 5 of us, we all have very different opinions, but we are one unified voice together when we are on the dais and we come together. So we have different values, different backgrounds, but when we set them aside on behalf of the children, staff, and community of San Marcos. So I'm a 5th grade teacher. I apologize for my bad joke, especially with the lady in the mauve shirt. She gave me the biggest, big sigh. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Next, we'll hear from Sarah.
All right, as a sitting board member, I can definitely say I'm clearer about my role as a board member than I was 4 years ago. And there's 4, there's many, but there's 4 primary ones, but I like to add a 5th, which I'll go over in a little bit. Number 1, I am the voice of my constituents. All my signs say she speaks for us, and I take that responsibility very, very seriously. I'm not on this board to amplify my voice or any other singular voice, but all of our voices. So here I'm going to add, please do not be shy, reach out, let's connect. I want to hear from you. Number one, going back, number two, I will say we are the superintendent's bosses. The only person we hire and fire as a superintendent, we hold him accountable to making sure that he is doing the best job possible. And I'll plug Dr. Andy Johnson. He is pretty fabulous, if I do say so myself. Number three, we are the fiscal guardians. And like Carlos said, for the first time, we're actually very healthy fiscally. And we did this without impacting our students or our classrooms. So we want to make sure that we're financially healthy and making sure that our money is being spent and invested wisely in the best interest of our kids. Number four, our role as our visionaries. We have to set the direction and the vision for our school district. And I will say here, we have done a great job of actually putting down in writing and making promises as part of this portrait of a graduate of what we want to do for our students. And I will personally hold myself personally responsible to trying to improve and do better, to not holding a status quo, but rather holding a torch to lead us forward, not only within our own district, but other districts. And number five, this is what I like to add, and it kind of feeds off of what Brittany had said earlier. We're the stewards of culture, setting the culture of the district. The school board is at the highest level of the district, and so we have the immense privilege and responsibility of ensuring that our district lives and breathes a culture of collaboration, innovation, respect, and brings main character, energy, focus on our kids.
Thank you. I want to remind everybody that the mics are hot, so make sure that when other people are talking that we make sure we're quiet. Next, we're going to hear from Brittany Bauer.
Thank you. My response to this question is pretty similar to everyone else up here. The most important role of a board member is to be actively listening to the feedback of our parents, teachers, and students. This is for improving our education system. They are the boots on the ground. There has been a steady decline in enrollment since 2020, and so I think that somewhere along the way we've missed the mark if parents continue to choose alternative education for their kids. I'm already listening to parents and students and teachers, and their frustrations are the reason why I'm sitting here today. They're not currently feeling heard, and I would like to be able to bridge the gap between our educational staff and our families so that we can work together to better these students' futures. Thank you.
JAIME Chamberlin.
Okay, so there's an easy answer and there's a hard answer. The easy answer is govern and provide oversight, maintain fiscal responsibility, and set direction for the district. And we've heard this in many different forms as we've gone down the row. But the harder one is, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we came into 4 years ago. We came into a district that had 4 superintendents in 5 years. Their deficit spending, no direction. Staff was tired, angry. The community and staff had no trust in our board. As we went through our 4 years, we faced declining enrollment, chronic absenteeism, a qualified budget, the aftermath of COVID, and budget shortfalls. My first 4 years on the board, as well as Sarah and Carlos's, we hired a qualified superintendent. We hired a qualified chief financial officer. We audited all departments to make sure that we are not overspending on positions that we don't need to have and right-sizing our district. We brought direction to the district through Portrait of a Graduate, not to mention the 23 different CTE pathways for our students who do not want to go to college after high school. We brought buses back to help our students and family to get to school in a reliable way, as well as helping our city reduce traffic in the mornings and afternoons. We opened up our schools so that all of our students and parents have choice to go to different schools instead of just their home school. We also opened up our district so that we can bring in students from other districts into our district to help with the enrollment going down. Sorry, and we helped to help with declining enrollment by transferring from other districts into our districts. We on this board have always tried to have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. Thank you.
Thank you. Lena?
I'm going to echo what a lot of people had to say. The school board is elected to represent the community, and we're accountable to the voters in the decisions that we're making. On the school board, we work with multiple stakeholders that all are there to make the best schools for our students. I think it's important and sometimes missed from school boards to be present, to go to campus, to go to the parents' meetings, so that there's an avenue for them to talk about concerns. They might be small, they might not be willing to come to a school board meeting and speak in the public forum, but they want to voice their concerns in some way. So I think that we just need to make sure that we are listening and representing everybody that way. I can promise that I am a very responsive person as a recruiter. It's kind of part of the game. But I will answer the calls, I will respond to the emails. If there's concerns, I will reach out to make sure that we're circling back and following up with everybody so that you know that it's being addressed, so that it's not just something that you complained about and then never heard and you really don't know what's going on. So I think that the most important thing is that we are following up with everybody, the voters, that we are providing the best schools for our students.
Thank you, candidates. And our final question is, if Measure JJ passes, what are the top 2 initiatives that should be addressed? And we'll start with Carlos.
Thank you. So one thing that San Marcos values is we value facilities. If you look at our surrounding districts, they have aging schools and they pass bonds, but they don't really have a plan. San Marcos, we have a very clear plan of what we're going to do with Proposition JJ. We have had, for the last year and a half, we've worked on a facilities master plan of the needs of every campus. It's very clear that we have schools such as San Marcos High School that looks like a junior college, and we have other schools that they're aging and need our attention. So we have a very clear plan of upgrade, safety, technology, but really getting rid of portables. We have so many schools with portables that were only meant for temporary use, and they've been there longer than 25 years. So really looking at getting rid of portables and providing permanent facilities. We have short-term needs and we also have long-term needs. But one thing that San Marcos definitely values is facilities. If San Marcos High School were still the old building, I don't know if it would be one of the largest high school in San Diego County. I don't know. But I just know that we value a safe, a modern, an innovative structure, facility, where kids go to learn and a place where teachers feel safe and happy to be. So we will have definitely Proposition JJ requires that we have an oversight committee. So that oversight committee, immediate need would be looking at safety of all our campuses and then also looking at long-term of the upgrade of technology and the actual physical structure.
Heidi.
Thank you. As Carlos mentioned, the current board has done a pretty fabulous job of putting a plan together. And so I'm not going to speak to the tactical part of that because they've really done an incredible job and put together a very detailed plan. So from a high level standpoint, just strategically speaking, the 2 initiatives that I would address would be 1, building projects and submitting applications to the state based on the qualifying criteria. There's upwards of $96 million available to us to compete for. Woodland Park would be a perfect example of a school. It's our oldest school in the district, and it's in the most need of repairs. And so leading in with that and submitting that early positions us to capture a good chunk of that money. So that would be step 1. Again, I'm not going to speak to a lot of the tactics in regards to the actual facilities plan, but secondly, this bond allows us to keep our funds local, which I love. Just this past week, we had someone from Child Nutrition, don't worry, this is all gonna come back full circle, from Child Nutrition Services come to our school. He brought a farmer's market, the kids got to shop, he talked about buying local. My daughter came home so excited. It was so cool. And as I thought about this question, I thought about this idea of keeping things local. And I'm so excited that this bond will allow us to keep the funds local. So my second initiative would be to look at what do the labor agreements look like? Are we going to create an even playing field for local contractors to bid on these jobs? What is that going to look like? How are they vetted? What does that bidding process look like? Ideally, it would be a win-win. Can we support our local businesses and contractors so that they can have a piece of this too? And then we all win. So that's my 2 initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Brittany, same question?
So, firstly, I'd like to say that what I'd like to see happen if I'm voted into the district is that we're actively budgeting for continued facility maintenance and improvements. And as we've heard from the current board members, they've brought the fiscal district into from red to the positive, so that's a great thing. Moving forward, I'd love to see it budgeted so that we don't have to go to the taxpayers for improvements of our facilities and schools and campuses. We should be proactive in addressing the facility needs on an ongoing basis. That being said, should the measure pass on a very basic need level, it's important that the board prioritizes the most critical needs on our campuses, and in my opinion, that's security and the removal of hazardous materials. I work within an industry that works with removing hazardous materials, and so I know the importance of taking those out of the classrooms and schools for the health of our students and staff. When we foster safe and healthy learning environments on our campuses, we're contributing to the peace of mind for our parents, staff, and our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah?
So I'll just add one of the reasons we had to go with Measure JJ is because the state of California actually does not fund us for some of the renovation and updates that we need to do in our schools. So we do not get funding for these types of renovations. So Measure JJ is solely for upgrading and renovating our existing facilities, only in San Marcos Unified District. The money is not earmarked for anything else and cannot be used for anything like salaries or benefits. With that in mind, my top 2 initiatives, and you guys can see our facilities master plan, it's massive, lots of details in it. But my 2 top ones are something that impacts all schools, school safety for all of our schools. They can be used, we can invest in all of our schools in some way to ensure that we have the latest and best technology as explained to us by the law enforcement agents and experts to ensure that our schools are as safe as they can be. This goes back to question 1. The physical safety of my kids and your kids is obviously very high on my priority. And obviously continuing with that vein of safety, many of our schools are older and are in significant need of upgrades and repairs to actually meet modern standards. You know, we have deteriorating wiring, HVAC systems, plumbing, we have hazardous material, we need to clean all of that up. And if I can lump in one more thing, that would be to remove, like Carlos said, 146 portable classrooms. So again, just making my top 2 priorities are kind of tied into one, which is our campus safety, and of course making our campuses nicer and more updated for our students to learn and excel in.
Thank you. Lena?
All right, so as a parent, I guess, as I've stated before, the safety is my number 1 concern. So I would say the health and safety factor. So I don't know if anybody remembers getting this in the mail, but it goes through all of the things that they'd like to spend the money on. For me, it was a little concerning just because it said remove hazardous material like mold, asbestos, and lead pipes. And then to bring things up to safety standards. It's hard to believe that we don't have the funds to come up to safety code without asking for more taxpayer money. So I've heard from the voters that there's some concerns about why we need to ask for $300 million from them to do these updates. That said, I know that bonds do usually pass, and I think that our facilities could definitely benefit from it. So I would do first removing the hazardous materials and then meeting the health and safety codes as a first priority. After that, we could look into the other technology and the fun things that they added in this flyer. So if anybody wants to see it after, I can share it with you.
Thank you. And finally, Jamie Chamberlain.
So for me, it's really two things. It's school infrastructure improvements. We have, like we had heard, we have some pretty outdated schools built in the 50s, 60s, 70s. One of our Twin Oaks has nothing but portables on it. And Woodland Park, Nob Hill, Paloma, Carrillo, those all have a lot of portables, and those schools all need to be updated. It's a very expensive adventure to go on to update schools. My second one is technology and integration and modernization, and I'm going to put safety under here as well. I would love to explore fencing, cameras, keyless entry. I think that would make all of us feel safer, our students feel safer, and our admin feel safer, and our teachers and staff. And the technology integration, modernization, that, for me, that would be across the whole district. Thank you.
Thank you all for your thoughtful and very educational answers to our questions. It is a wonderful discussion. The next part, we're going to have closing remarks from all of you. So I think the first one will be from Trustee Area A, and that will be Carlos.
All right, so I just want to stress that this last 4 years, we've embarked on many initiatives that were immediate needs of the district, of all students. And there are so many things that we as a board have charted out that we want to continue working on and accomplishing, working together to meet the needs of our students in our community. As I said in my opening statement, we are missing the mark in meeting the needs of some students. Overall, we're doing well if you look at our data. In comparison to 42 other districts, we're number 3 as a K-12, we're number 5 overall. But our majority minority students, we still have gangs in San Marcos. We still have shootings on baseball fields. We still have kids that are being murdered. I feel like we need to address this as a community with the city, with families, with our religious leaders, with our school board, with our cabinet. We have award-winning music programs. What are we doing to make this culturally relevant for all kids, right? Especially our minority students that are the majority. I feel there's so much work that needs to be done to meeting the needs of all students in San Marcos, and it would be a privilege to continue serving Area A, but all students in San Marcos. My background is education. I'm a 5th grade teacher. You heard my worst joke tonight. And I'm also a lecturer at San Diego State, so my background's in literacy. My passion is education. My passion is children. This is what I do for a profession. I feel that I am the voice of experience, but I'm also the voice of accountability on the board with my 4 other board members. So it would be an honor to continue serving SMUSD for another 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Heidi Herrick.
Thank you. So I think that San Marcos Unified is doing some amazing things. I really do. You've heard from the incumbents and the new candidates. We're ranked, as Carlos said, we're 5th in the county. That is an amazing accomplishment. So I am not trying to come in and fix things that are not broken. I promise you that. But I do know that in the private sector, being in business for 20 years, it's really hard to stay on the top. It is very hard to continue to innovate when your competitors are coming and surpassing you. And I know education is different, but some of the things are the same. And I believe that it is still difficult to stay on the top. And so if and when I'm elected, I intend to leverage my business experience and bring that into education. As I mentioned, I'm a mother. Next year, God bless me, I'll be driving to 3 different campuses on San Marcos Unified. I need a carpool. And I love being on campus. I love listening to the students and getting to know the teachers. And I think I have a unique position to be eyes and ears for our kids and for our community. So I want to keep pushing on all the great things our current board has done and just keep putting pressure on the momentum that they've built. And I want to take a stab at fixing some of the things that I think are broken. And so I ask for your vote and your support. Thank you.
Now we'll move on to trustee area B, starting with Brittany Bauer.
Thank you, and thank you for those that did show up tonight, and thank you for everybody up here. I think it's clear that everybody sitting at these tables have a heart for kids and students and wanting to see our education system taken to the next place. So, again, my name is Brittany Bauer. It would be an honor to represent the voice of the community within our school district. I would be working for you, so that would be an open line of communication on my end and an open ear from me. Our goal is the same, building a firm foundation for our students' futures, so I'd love to see us working together to make that happen. If you would like to learn more, you can go to electbrittanyBauer.com. Thank you.
Sarah Ahmad.
Thank you. I'm rerunning for the San Marcos Unified School Board because I want to continue to bring your voices as students, as parents, as teachers to the board to ensure that our school district is providing the best for each child. I want to continue to do my part to ensure that each child, regardless of their background or socioeconomic status, has the opportunity and means to grow to their best selves. As a parent board member, I'm dedicated to each student's success, safety, and space, and ensuring that we recruit and retain the very best teachers to deliver that learning. I'm rerunning because I am invested in seeing my children and your children, all of our children, succeed. As a parent board member, I hear you. I promise to continue to hear you and to listen. I promise to accept your concerns and your inputs and bring them to the table. As a board member cannot be a sole personalized voice, like I said before. A board member must be a chorus of the village that we represent, and all voices, regardless of whether they have a seat at the table, should be heard. As a member of this community for the last 17 years, I know that despite all of our varied backgrounds and differences and experiences, we value the importance of a strong education and safety and security for our children. We must value the trust and confidence that we put in our teachers and administrators when we hand off our students to them every morning, and trust that they value the same thing and will keep our babies safe. The teachers and administrators then in turn should be able to trust that as a community and as a board, we support them in their efforts to be their best selves, demonstrating our value to support and foster the success of the youngest child to the oldest adult. I'm rerunning because I want to continue to do my part in ensuring that SMUSD schools continue to grow, excel, and innovate from amazing schools they already are. I will do that by bringing our voices to the table and not losing sight of who we are.
And from Area D, Lena Lauer, MEUM.
San Marcos has great schools, and overall San Marcos is just an amazing community, which is why I've been here pretty much my whole life. With my business background and community involvement, I know that I can do a good job representing our district and serve our community well. So I would like to ask for your vote. If you'd like more information about my campaign, you can check out my website, lenaforschoolboard.com. And again, I want to thank the Chamber for hosting us tonight and for y'all for being here. Appreciate it.
Jamie Chamberlain.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Rick, and the Chamber, and the moderators. Thank you very much. I've poured my heart, my sweat, and yes, even tears into this district over the past 14 years. It's been an honor to serve as a community member here, as a parent volunteer, as a PTO member and president, and as a board member and president. I'm not done yet. I think we have a lot more to do, and I'm humbly asking for your vote for another 4 years to make San Marcos great, as always.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you to San Marcos Chamber and also to Mission Hills High School. Well done. And I think Rick will have some closing remarks.
It's a lot of pressure. I don't move that fast. Let's hear it for all the candidates tonight. Great job. I want to thank you all for attending today as Canada Forum. It was great to hear everybody's comments. It's great to live in San Marcos. We lived in San Marcos now for 12 years, and very happy we settled here. And our son went through the school district as well, so very pleased with that. Do want to make a reminder. So on October 3rd, we'll be right back in this Mission Hills Theater. Mission Hills High School Theater for the City Council Canada Forum. So same format. So please make sure you check that out. We'll also videotape that. This will appear on our YouTube channel, the Chamber's YouTube channel. So as soon as we get that live, we'll get that out on our social media platforms, our website, our newsletter, everything that we can. So again, I want to thank San Marcos Unified School District for allowing us to use this wonderful theater. We couldn't do it without you, so thanks so much for all your help. So we appreciate it. Have a great evening. Again, thanks to all the candidates. Thanks to everybody for coming out tonight. Have a great evening. Thank you.